I've always been a surface level horror fan, even when I was a kid with the Goosebumps novels, right? I call myself like a lipstick lesbian when it comes to horror. I like a little bit of it, but I generally like it when horror or supernatural or any weird shit, there's a little bit of it in a different genre. Something that's generally more grounded in reality. That's my sweet spot. There are exceptions. There are some great horror movies that I really enjoy. But I was thinking about the other day, going back to the old Goosebumps novels, R.L. Stein. I was I was the perfect demographic to get into those books when I was a little tacker, and so I started reading them and got addicted. And whenever a new one would come out, begged my parents to buy it. So I read so many of them. Must have read 50 of those books, and I remember being enthralled and excited and just loving the first 10 pages when everything was chill with the character. And then as soon as the first supernatural or spooky thing happened, I was like, oh, fuck, here we go again. And it's such a weird thing to be like, still going being like, all right, page 10, only like 211 pages until I'm done. And then I can get to the next book and have another enjoyable norm core opening to the next R.L. Stein joint. The fact that I persevered, maybe because with the hero's journey, you return to where you started. And so I would like enjoy the first 10 pages. And then at the very end, I'd be like, well, I'll get through all this spooky and supernatural stuff, all the conflict and horror, so that I can just enjoy the 3 pages of life being back to normal and the parents being home and everything cool again at the end. Fucking hell. So anyway, I don't really know why I felt that way. Maybe it was an indication of where my, sweet spot was going to be in terms of art moving forward. In that, guess if I had to differentiate it, I prefer like psychological horror. Like I like the kind of exploration of the dark mind and all that. But anytime there anything too spooky or absurd happened, I'd be like, yeah, that couldn't fucking happen. That's fucking insane. So I think that is part of it, but there's also something to do with over the years I've spent more time. It's funny, I went to university to fucking learn about English, and it was all just about like, what's the representation of the gender in this book? It was very little it was all kind of like broad themes analysis in the English literature and film studies units I did. It was all about themes and representation, very little actual story structure analysis. So over the years, as I started taking my own creative writing more and more seriously, I was like, yeah, I should probably learn more about this story structure shit. So that led me to the hero's journey and the kind of like the 3 act structure, or like in Hollywood, it's a 3 act structure, but the second act is essentially 50% of the movie. So it's kind of a 4 act structure because they're all like 25% each. But the act 2 and 3 are grouped together. And that generally is kind of like in the beginning, you have the exposition, you introduce the character, you establish the character, you establish the goal, and then give them a desire. And then the whole main section of the book is the conflict, them not being able to get the desire or getting the desire in it. Oh, sorry, getting the goal, but losing it. And then at the end, it resolves. And yeah, I find that if I'm going to be honest, why I like the first 10 pages more is because I feel like with most storytelling, they really ram it down your face in terms of who the protagonist is, what their goals are, and what the conflict is going to be. I guess it's about commerce. You want to give them bang for their buck. You want to be like, wham, bam, thank you, man. here's the dude, here's what he doesn't have, here's what he wants, here's what's gonna get in his way. Oh, we're 3 minutes into the movie. Now fucking let's go. R.L. Stein was doing a similar thing, and no judge on the man he's writing. I'm not kicking the tires too hard on his children's books, but it's the same shit you see everywhere. And yeah, I feel like the reason I liked the first 10 pages is because I feel like it resembles real life more. Like the average person, they have a vague understanding of who they are. They have a vague understanding of what's happening to them. They have a vague understanding of what they want, and they have a vague understanding of what's actually getting in their way. It's murky in terms of your own position within the story of your own life. And so I much prefer books where at the beginning it seems normal and it is normal until it's not. And you got the slow burn element to the conflict ramping up. And just a mystery in terms of like, yeah, this seems normal on the surface, but something's going to happen. And I much prefer it when you're a reader, you don't know what it's going to be, and you're lulled into a false sense of security. Because, yeah, back in the day, I remember thinking, like, I just want R.L. Stein to write a whole book about the normal thing, kind of like a Seinfeldian. So, what's the deal with ghouls? Yeah, like just kind of like an average, regular, that Coen Brothers movie, A Serious Man, that type of vibe, where you're like, what is actually going on with this? But yet it's enthralling because it's somewhat relatable just in terms of the existential difficulties that we face in terms of identifying what the fuck is going on. And yeah, I have a huge problem with the fucking Joseph Campbell's story arc thing. I just think Hero of a Thousand Faces, like, what a simplification of fucking everything. There's a character, something happens to them, it ends, they come home. Okay, I guess that, like, to think that that was somehow groundbreaking or revolutionary, to be like, yeah, sure, that's like saying you wake up in the morning, you do shit, eventually you go to bed. Okay, does that give you any type of like deeper understanding of, is that, does that illustrate a pattern of any significance with people, how people spend their time? I don't really feel like that. Anyway, I'll get off my pulpit here, but yeah, essentially that's what I've kind of realized, is that inside little Tommy reading his Goosebumps novel, there was a cunt who wanted vague stories that meandered nowhere, and took surprising turns into nothingness. All right, let me know if you were the same, if you're little normcore Goosebumps readers like myself. Catch you on the next one. Bye.